Hello again, folks. I hope everyone's new year has been going well so far. Well, with the Canada Post strike over, finally, packages that were stuck in transit for weeks are finally turning up in my mailbox. Like this one, which arrived just this week, and contained 3 LPs I purchased from a seller in Sweden all the way back in November. Well, it was worth the wait. What were they? Well, I've told you before about my friend Robert's YouTube channel, My Groovy Collection. Robert's located in South Africa, and he discusses Elton vinyl a lot on his channel. And several months ago, Robert did an episode where he mentioned owning a DJM vinyl reissue of Madman Across the Water, and that DJM had released that in 1987. And he showed the record to us, and I could see it was, in fact, a DJM copy, but that it had a barcode on the back, plus the Phonogram logo, which, those were not things that I'd ever seen before on vintage DJM vinyl copies of any of Elton's classic albums. And I was taken aback, thinking specifically of the UK DJM vinyl series over the years. I'd known that DJM's first series releases were from 1969 to about mid-1976. Then DJM switched distributors from Pi to CBS, and then changed the label's design slightly. And that, in my mind, began what I call DJM's second series. Then a third series circulated from about 1978 to 81 on a yellow DJM label, with most mastering for those issues done by Strawberry Mastering in London. Then a fourth and final series from about 82 to 85, when CBS resumed mastering duties and DJM used what many collectors call DJM's wedge label design. Then Dick James passed in late 1986, and by 1987, Stephen James had sold DJM to PolyGram. But there was Robert, and he was holding up a DJM label copy of Madman from 1987. And I'd never heard of a 5th series DJM vinyl issue of anything, or a 5th DJM vinyl series, so I looked into it, and sure enough, nearly all of Elton's classic years albums had been part of this reissue series in 1987. And because DJM was by then owned by PolyGram, PolyGram used Phonogram to manufacture and distribute the reissues. In this case, Phonogram pressed these reissues at BAARN in the Netherlands, which had, in my opinion, always done such a good job of Elton's 1980s rocket vinyl. So I just had to get at least a few of these. I wanted to hear for myself how they sounded, and if they were as good as some of the 3rd or even 4th series DJMs in my collection. So 2 months later, here are the first 3, and I have a few more on the way. And obviously Caribou's among the 3 that I bought. Now I'm going to do 2 things here. First, since this is not exactly a traditional unboxing video, I'm going to change the order in which I show these 3 LPs to you out of the box. And second, I'm going to interject now with alternate footage of these albums, which I shot this morning. So this is the 1987 DJM Madman by Phonogram. There's the Phonogram logo, which I'm more used to seeing on the backs of Rocket LPs, not DJM LPs. And there's the barcode. So Madman's catalog number was 825487-1. And it's not a gatefold sleeve, obviously. It's a standard single pouch sleeve with a custom inner, with the Ed Cariff photo of Elton on the front, and printed lyrics on the obverse. And this copy seems to be in good shape, at least its sleeves are. Now let's have a look at the actual LP. Okay, a little bit of dust on it, that's no problem. Otherwise, it looks in really good shape. I believe Phonogram pressed some of the original DJM issues of these albums back in the 1970s, some of them even in Holland. That was back when Phonogram was Phonodisc. So I compared the matrix codes of the original Dutch DJMs with each of these 1987 reissues, and it appears that these were all new masterings, at least new lacquers. So it wasn't like Phonogram pulled old stampers out of some storage closet somewhere and just used those. And there we have the PRS BAARN matrix identifier, code 670, so this was definitely pressed at PRS BAARN. I'd wondered why Phonogram didn't bother pressing these at PRS London, but given how Phonogram would close that plant just months after these reissues hit the market, I guess they knew already that their vinyl pressing operations in London were winding down, so it would have made better sense for Phonogram to base pressing operations for this series at their facility in Holland, which continued pressing vinyl for the European market well into the 1990s. The second of the three is the 1987 DJM reissue of Don't Shoot Me. And there's the back of the sleeve, again with the Phonogram logo in the lower right corner and the barcode in the upper right. Catalog number 827690-1. And this too is just a standard non-gatefold sleeve with a custom inner. Both the outer and inner sleeve designs here are just like the later UK DJM vinyl reissues from about 5 to 10 years earlier. I'll bet Phonogram just reused the same artwork production files. Now let's look at the LP. Okay, so also in great shape. And you'll notice the label design is the same as the copy of Madman. So it's a silver DJM logo at top center, album and song titles below the spindle hole, and all text and graphics silver on a charcoal black background. And there's the 670 indicator. These reissues certainly show the PRS BAARN pressing ring, with the raised perimeter ring and the 2-inch seam ring in the center. Let's place the LP back in the inner sleeve. Another copy in really good shape, except for some surface dust, which I've already removed with my disc washer brush. Third and last is Caribou. And I'm not sure if you can see it so well in this light, but the first thing I noticed about this sleeve was that its cover and back panel images looked really kind of blurry, almost like they were 1 or 2 generations removed from their photographic originals, almost like a bad color photocopy. And there's the barcode and the Phonogram logo, this time both in the upper right corner. So again, you can see here just how less than great the images are. Not just the photo of Elton and Bernie, but the band members too. And something else that caught my eye, the typefaces on the back of the sleeve are similar to those used on the original sleeve, but not exactly the same. So let's have a look inside. Okay, so this is strange. The coloring on the photo of Elton here is much darker than on any of the other DJM issues in my collection. Okay, so at the bottom of the lyrics side of this inner, we have our 2 winking Eltons, but they're shaded per the MCA sleeve design instead of close cropped. And again, the typeface is similar to the original issues. In fact, here I'd say it's a dead-on match. But I later compared this to both DJM and MCA originals, and on this 1987 reissue, the letters are a bit closer together, and the spacing between the lines is also tighter. So I'm of the opinion that the folks at Phonogram prepared this sleeve by creating all new artwork production files. Anyway, let's look at the LP. Also in great shape. I've dusted and played all 3, and all 3 sound good. But they weren't nearly as warm as the UK DJM first series originals. These 1987 reissues, they had a lot of clarity and space in their upper ranges, but in all 3 cases, their low end had significant roll-off. I had to crank the bass knob on my amp to hear any life in that range. As for discography, I tend to think of these 1987 Phonogram reissues as really kind of the first, I don't know what the word would be, as the first sort of modern reissues of these albums. I don't know. It's sort of, I see them as the kind of pioneers that would later, sort of repeat themselves beginning in 2016, 2017. The only major difference is that the 2016-17 reissues sounded a lot better than these. And in traditional European style, the sleeves have spine labels on the top, foredge, as well as on the spine itself. Very clear and easy to read too, and here we'll transition back to the original unboxing footage. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything new, please give this video a like. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please consider doing that. I'm making new content regularly, and I'd like to get up to 1,000 subs by May or June of this year. And of course, thank you, as always, to those of you who've already subscribed. And thanks again to all of you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.